Hey guys and gals of YouTube, it's your host Triple J, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Smith & Wesson SD40Ve. So stay tuned and I'll see you inside the video. Alright, so we're back and now we're actually going to start talking about this wonderful little pistol. Before we get started, the first thing I do want to mention is I live in California, as some of you may already know. So the downside of that is we have to run the low capacity 10 round magazine. So I'm going to say for any of you that live in another state, this pistol normally comes with a 14 round magazine if you don't live in California, Massachusetts, or any of the other states that limit you to low capacity. I wanted to get that out of the way first. Now a little bit about the pistol itself. Back in 1993, Smith & Wesson came out with the, I'm going to go ahead and take the pistol out so you guys can kind of look at it a little bit while I'm talking. But back in 93, Smith & Wesson came out with the Smith & Wesson Sigma series, which was a polymer framed striker fired gun, and it really had kind of a negative stigma. Sometime in the early 2000s, I don't know the exact year, they brought out the SD series, which kind of eventually replaced the Sigma. Now back in 2012, they released the VE model, which is what I have here. What the VE stands for is Value Enhanced. It's basically kind of the low-cost alternative, which after they brought this out, they eventually decommissioned the SD series, and this is really the only one left of this line. Now some of the cool features of this, I'll go ahead and come a little bit closer to the camera so it'll pick up. If you look right here above the trigger guard, you'll notice that it has a checkered indent, and if I can do this without flagging myself or the camera person, you'll notice that it has it on both sides. So if you run a thumb forward aggressive grip, the nice thing is, it gives you a nice little reference spot for your thumb and for your index finger when you have your finger off the trigger, or if you're a lefty, obviously, fits really well on that side too. The other thing is it has this really aggressive stippling on the back strap, well, checkering. It has a really nice texture to the grip, and I don't know if that'll pick up. I'm trying not to flag anybody. It's got the checkering on the front of the grip as well. It does have a really high beaver tail, so really close to the slide. Once you get really high up, it does have a lot of slide mass, especially with the weight of the polymer. Now this is not necessarily a light gun. It is 22.7 ounces, which is basically £1.5 of, actually what, pound and 6.7 ounces. So actually about £1.25. So it's not super light. It's 7.2 inches overall. Yes, I have a little cheat sheet over there. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a 4-inch stainless steel barrel and steel slide. Polymer lower, as I mentioned. I've had the pistol for, 4 months now, but haven't got to shoot it very much just because of ammo and stuff like that. So before we talk about it anymore, I want to put more rounds through it, and I'm sure you guys are anxious to see it. So I'm going to turn down range. We just have some really simple targets set up, and let's get it shooting. Now, I've yet to shoot it at this range, so I'm probably going to miss a lot. Let my camera person get adjusted. And we're empty. So, like I said, have not shot at this range very much. I was, in fact, shooting for the two 12-ounce cans that were on the lower part of the log. I think I was shooting high. I couldn't quite tell. That's why I was kind of just kept shooting. I was trying to watch. I got a little bit of splash from behind it, but what you guys can't see is that the bottom branch on that log that I have those on is, there's a gap between it and the main part of the tree. That is actually another feature of this gun I do want to point out real fast. It has a magazine disconnect. So when the gun is cocked, without the magazine in it, the trigger will pull, but it doesn't actually go click. I'll move closer so the mic can pick it up. Once you put the magazine in, it allows you to engage the trigger. It's supposedly a safety feature, but honestly, I find it more of an annoyance. Because when I go to check my gun and make sure it's clear, the way I learned, you know, you rack it, you inspect your chamber, you put it in a safe direction, you click your trigger. But I can't click the trigger. It doesn't work. So I find it to be an annoyance. That's one of my only negatives about this gun, honestly. You guys may have noticed that the gun was kicking a little bit for me there, but it was because I took a very light grip on it, trying to be a little more stable. So I kind of sacrificed a bit of recoil reduction for this ability to shoot, but that was on my grip. I will mention that the casings on this, I've noticed, project slightly right, but mostly back. My camera person actually got hit in the face by one, and in the shoulder by another one. I haven't had any problems, but I noticed when I actually had this at the range, they have a log backstop, and I was a good, probably 2 feet in front of that from where I was shooting, and when we found our brass, they were actually resting at the log. So it's kicking them pretty far back. Now, the serrations on this, I absolutely fell in love with, the cocking serrations. They're not like fancy fish scale curved. They're nice, they're deep, but they're not too sharp. They are just enough. Despite the heavy spring, you can still, with just 3 fingers, the cocking serrations are enough to operate that. It does have the forward serrations, which are nice when you're doing press checks. Obviously, you got to be careful of that barrel. My thumb has a tendency to do this, so I got to really roll it in to keep it out of the way of the barrel. It does have a loaded chamber indicator on the top, which does stick up. I'm actually going to go ahead and load this up real fast so you can see that. Loaded chamber indicator sticks up and it's red. Obviously your mag release is right here on the side of the gun where it would normally be. I'm going to go ahead and kick that round out. I'm going to put that back in the holster while I load the mag. It does come with 2 mags, which is really nice. I did not buy the extra mag. It came with both in the box. And it's really not that expensive. Here in California, it's a little bit higher than the suggested retail price, but most firearms in California are. Those of you who live here know this. Some of you that are really into guns in other states also know this. But they can normally be found for under $400, not counting, you know, state fees and tax and everything. So I kind of just wanted to talk opinion about it, because there's not really any history or much facts to talk about like we did with the 336 or the nylon videos. The original Sigma, Smith got sued by Glock because the very first Sigmas were too close to the Glock patent. I've seen Glocks, I've shot Glocks, I've seen the original Sigmas. They were nothing like it. They were more rounded, but that's a story for another day. This is pretty much a carbon copy of its predecessor, the SD. Really the only difference are it's a little bit cheaper metal through the slide. Even though it's still stainless, it's a different quality steel through the slide and barrel to cut down cost. And the old SDs actually had a black coating. They were not two-tone like this. I think you used to be able to get the VE when they first came out in the single color instead of the two-tone, but they since dropped that line. I'm going to go ahead, and one of the reasons why I'm not shooting very much is because I don't have a speed loader for the mag, because the follower springs are still new. They take a while to reload, so I didn't really want to burn through too much ammo. So I'll shoot it again here in a minute, but I know you guys also probably get bored just listening to me talk. Other thing I wanted to point out is it does have a 3 white dot standard sight system and a standard pick and derail for lights, lasers, under the barrel accessories. Takedown on it's really simple. Actually, if my camera person wants to follow me over here to the box, I'm going to take it down real fast before I get it too much hotter. We're shooting just some steel cased blazer ammunition. It's a 180 grain. Now obviously the 40 in the SD40, the name of this is because it's in 40 Smith & Wesson. It also comes in 9. Now takedown, if my camera person is going to be able to keep this There's two little levers right here on each side. As much as I hate to say it, very similar to a Glock. I know a lot of other guns use that too. Now, obviously, mag's out. Do not cock it. If it is cocked, you have to release the tension on the sear. So, I'm glad I checked. That's the other reason why having a mag disconnect. Anyway, the easiest way I found to do it is to wrap your thumb around the back strap, a little bit of pressure on the back of the slide, ease pressure but not enough back that it cocks, reach up with your two fingers, pull down on the takedown slides, and it just slides forward like that. There's your lower, you can clean that. Guide rod and spring. This is unfortunately a plastic guide rod. Set that aside and hopefully not lose it. And then a, hopefully not too hot, stainless barrel. It's already dirty, but go figure. There you go. That's takedown in a nutshell. That's pretty much as far as you ever need to take this down. Now, one of the things I do want to say about the trigger on this gun, which was one of the big criticisms of its two predecessors, is it is a... This is obviously a striker-fired weapon, if you didn't already figure that out by the lack of a... Aha! You always want to make sure you have your guide rod clicked into the right place before you try to put your gun back together. And not pinch your finger in the slide. God, that was stupid of me. Anyway, not sweep myself, not sweep my camera person. What was I saying? Oh, trigger. Trigger, right. So it is a striker fire, if that wasn't obvious. The one thing I will say about this, unfortunately, is it is a double action only. So what I'm going to try to demonstrate, actually I can probably just turn it this way so I can do it with my right hand, is trigger is cocked all the way back. You got just that little bit of slack. You have this long, creepy trigger pull. Obviously the gun cycles. Now here's the big kick. There's your reset point. All the way back where you started. It's double action only. The other fun thing is this is Smith & Wesson's self-defense trigger. 8.5 to 8.8 pound trigger pull. That's a bit heavy. However, the wonderful people at Apex Tactical make a spring replacement kit. Sells for between $20 and $25. It's a fairly easy operation. If you don't feel comfortable, obviously you can take it to a gunsmith, have them put it in. It drops the trigger weight down to 6.5 pounds, something like that. The other thing they sell, although it's a bit more, between $40 and $50, is a replacement trigger. This is a drop-in trigger that shortens up the length of travel, so your trigger basically starts a little less far forward. You have to go let it out a little bit more. But I have babbled just about enough, so let's put it up and shoot it for you a little bit more. Hopefully we're not quite running out of daylight and the camera's still picking up fine. I did, if any of you watched my part 2 of shooting glass with the Beeman video, you may have heard me talking about getting a new camcorder. This is the first time we've had it out this late. Again, I have no idea where this is hitting, so we're pretty much making it up as we go. I think it was shooting high, so I'm going to aim low. I'm going to start with that bright orange clay pigeon on the far right side and see if I can get him in the ballpark. I think if I hold the 6 o'clock hold on it. Make sure my air pro's in all the way. Maybe it's going low? Can you tell where those are hitting? Can you viewers out there tell me where that's hitting? Maybe you guys can see something I'm not. So, you know what? Instead of accuracy, this did not work well the last time I tried it, but what I'm going to try to do, despite the long trigger and the heavy trigger, there's 8 rounds left. I'm going to try to empty it as fast as my little finger can with the long trigger pull. Because, why not? Obviously, it's not the fastest shooting gun in the world, but that's not really what it's made for. So, It may have sounded like there were a lot of negatives in this video. But I will personally recommend this pistol to anybody that is looking for a low-end budget pistol. There are some other guns in roughly the same price range, but honestly, quality-wise, I will take this over them any day. As far as the grip and feel of it goes, I fell in love with this gun the first time I picked it up. I've shot the Sigma, its ancient, well, its grandfather. Didn't like it. I shot the original SD, its father. Didn't like it as much either. They have slightly changed the angle and shape of the grip throughout the generations. This, by far, has been the most comfortable to shoot. Like I said, my only downside is the trigger, but it's doable. That wasn't super fast, but for just burning through 180 grain ammo, it wasn't that bad either. It is a little bit snappy because, like a lot of 40s, it's the same frame and weight as the 9mm. So, the extra recoil of the 40, especially if you run hot or 40, can make it be a bit snappy. All in all though, for the budget, whether you live in California and you're limited to the sucky 10 rounds, or if you live in another state and get the enjoyment of a full standard round 14-shot magazine, it is a wonderful gun on the budget. I haven't tested it yet, but I have read numerous reports of people basically going from both extremes on lubrication of the gun, running it completely dry, no oil on the slide or in it at all, running it super over-soaked in lubrication, and the gun handling flawlessly. I personally haven't got around to testing either of those for myself, but jump on YouTube, jump on the gun forums, and you'll find that about the only negative you will find about this gun is the trigger. And honestly, the trigger's not that bad. Because if you are going to get this for a carry weapon, it's honestly not that bad having that heavy trigger where you have to be conscious of the fact you're pulling it. You have to know you're doing it. There's no, oh, you're taking it out, taking the slack out, and the hair trigger went off. You know you're engaging that trigger. You know you're going to make the gun go bang. Self-defense, even if it's not against people, even if this is going to be like your hiking gun, your carry out in the mountains, which is honestly one of the things I do with it, that trigger is a wonderful thing. The other thing I will say really fast in closing, because this is probably getting to be kind of long, holsters for it. This is a standard Fobus paddle holster. This is the Gen 2 with the retention screen. This is for the retention spring, not string. This is for the Smith & Wesson M&P, and what I will say is, it fits. The one discrepancy, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, you can kind of see the cutout for the trigger guard here, and the shape of it, how it's a little more rounded, vice kind of the squareness of this one. It does, if you listen closely, actually you can't hear it, bring the camera in and show it from the top here. You will see, as it goes in, you can distinctively see it open and close back around. So it is fully securing the trigger guard like it's supposed to. You just don't get the click that you get. And one of the things I will do, because I have already tried this, is it will come out. And what I was actually telling my camera person earlier is I need to retighten the tension screw on this because it was brand new, it had to be broken in, now it's a little loose. When I first got it, I could do this, and you had to pretty much force it out. So what I'm getting at is, even though it's not an exact fit, it does work. I've also talked to a few people, pretty much any form-fitted mag or holster for the mid-size M&Ps, the 4-inch barreled M&P series, will fit this. I believe any form-fitted holster for the old Sigmas, if you have one laying around, will fit this. So, all in all, inexpensive gun. Easy to get your accessories for, just go buy something for M&P, which they're all over. Decent shooter so far. Now, again, a lot of leftover targets. This is only the second time I've had this gun out to the range. And the last time I was just shooting a big cardboard target, so I didn't need the precision. Obviously, once I have it a little bit more, I'll be able to get that precision. Good gun, inexpensive, great first gun, or just another one to put in the closet and take out to the range. I've been your host, Triple J. Thank you for watching my video. I'm sorry that this video was a little more talking and a little less shooting. I'll try to, my next video probably won't be, it'll be some more shooting in it. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please leave me a like or share this video. It means so much and it helps me out more than you can know. Comment if you have any questions or any input. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, take care.